Welcome to episode number 5 of the Dugout Crew here. Today is 4:20, ladies and gentlemen, so it's time to be naturally stoned. Wait, what? Um, so
You're not even
Naturally
old enough to
stoned?
smoke
What
it.
happened
Stop
to
it.
artificially stoned? What, we using sweet low today?
no,
No, he's using he's using Splenda for his replacement.
There you go.
sure.
He's got to have his coffee in the morning. That's why he's so hyped up every day.
That's right. That's it. Yep.
I try to be a morning person, but anyway, we are here with Eric Lima.
Hello, what's going on?
We have Chester and James.
Hello.
Jason Canio.
Hello.
And who he swept the Athletics, Joey Acacia.
He's back. Joey's
Yeah, unfortunately.
back.
Yeah,
All right,
you can't
everybody. We're gonna
you
get
can't
into a
get rid of
chorus.
me, man.
We're gonna get to a chorus of "Welcome Back, Carter." Welcome back. Da-da. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, how you doing? Okay. Nice to see you again.
Hey, Mr. DeCanio, fix that hair. Straighten
What
up
do you
that vest. See, I know that from Welcome Back, Carter that was John Travolta's big break.
So was it all for all of those guys?
What?
Even the one who died, the Rorschach. What was his name?
Ron Palillo.
Mhm.
God rest his soul. Hello, I'm Arnold Hornshack. Yep.
Okay, so I'll let you guys do your part, and when it comes to mine, all bets are off.
All right.
Yes. It's an unfortunate day for the Bay Area, but at least the Giants are still like the only California team left, but they're kind of stink too.
Yeah,
Um,
until that stadium of theirs falls into the ocean.
so I
Dark
got-
day in the A's lay. Oh my goodness. Yep.
So I didn't get the chance to ask this, since some of you weren't here last time. What are you guys' thoughts on the pitch clock this year so far? I will start with Eric.
Well, and the only thing that's been helpful is that the games go by faster. In fact, one of the Red Sox games ended under 2 hours,
Wow.
which is
Versus the
unheard of.
Angels.
Against the Angels. Yeah, one of the games against the Angels under
Yeah.
2 hours. I think it was Sunday's game. I think this past
Yes,
Sunday.
it was.
So, it's it's been helpful so far, but like I said, the batters and hitters got the batters, the pitchers and hitters got to get used to it, especially the hitters.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's hours than I was at Fenway Park. I was there for like 6 hours on Monday, with all of the rain delays that happened. I was there from 9:35 in the morning till like almost 5 p.m. that day. It was
Wow.
crazy. So that was my day at Fenway Park Monday.
All right.
What's your thoughts on the pitch clock, Joey?
So, there's been many different human rain delays in history. There's been Mike Hargrove, who used to come and adjust his gloves like Garcia Parra used to. He used to pull up his pants and everything, like most people should.
Yeah.
And then Garcia Parra with his fiddling of his hands and everything. And
My
just-
God.
yeah, it's just like, oh, let me do this one. Let me do that one. Huh?
Let me try that down around the old oak tree and see how far I can get.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the old oak tree is about as skinny as my patience.
They got a Sox traded him. We don't have to worry about that anymore. But we traded him, and look what happened. We broke the curse.
Yeah, no, imagine that. Garcia Parra going to the Cubs, continued one curse and ended another.
Pretty much.
But yeah, no, the pitch clock is very beneficial. You got 20 seconds, but yesterday, as part of my continued misery with this team,
Oh boy.
the A's manager, Mark Conte, got ejected yesterday because Aledmus Diaz goes to call timeout, and the umpire's like, oh no, you're out. You didn't call time fast enough. He blew. I forget who the umpire was, and anyway, his name's not important. But he blew up on the umpire saying, "Why can't you tell me? Why can't you tell me why he doesn't get a timeout every once in a while?" Because it's important to note that you get 20 seconds, 30 with a man on base and everything, but it's just like, it's more important to speed the game along. Joe West is no longer allowed to sit on his fat ass behind home plate.
Joey's holding nothing back today, guys.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know? Ask Rajay Davis how heavy Joe West is.
He's about 400 pounds, probably.
He makes John. No, I can't say that one. That's a touchy subject. No, he makes Eric Gregg seem skinny. That's my thoughts on the pitch clock, but it's just getting started.
And it's just warming up, folks. He's just heating up like NBA Jam, man. He's heating up.
What's your thoughts on the pitch clock, Chester?
I think it's a good idea, but at the same time, it kind of throws the game off by the pitchers, because the pitchers are so used to taking their time, getting ready to toss the heat. But I think it's a nice concept to move the game fast, even though I don't really believe the game should be moving fast. I mean, it's baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball shouldn't be forced to move at a fast pace. I mean, it's like the games are nearly 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
But I never understood why they wanted to move the game fast.
They want to get rid of the. Okay.
One more thing is, I think these stupid new rules are just to cater to the crybaby umpires. That's what I'm thinking.
They also want to get rid of that dead time between pitches and all that stuff. So, but what's your thoughts?
It's just accommodate those crybaby umpires. It wants it all about them.
Yeah. What about you, Jason? What's your thoughts?
I think the pitch clocks. It stinks. Just like the critic says, it stinks. I hate it. Come on. You can have a shot clock in basketball. You can have what? They ain't even a shot clock in hockey. They don't even have that.
No, they don't have that.
I don't even have that. Okay. The only thing they have a shot clock in is basketball. But now to bring in a pitch clock for the you're really not really helping, because some pitchers have to really kind of dig in their heels and get really loose. But to speed up the game, I mean, a game is 3 hours. And you're there to enjoy yourself. To take away that element to speed it up, some games go even faster than without the pitch clock. I seen a game go an hour and 50 minutes because it was a 1-0 game, and it was just, they played fast. What is he saying?
Sorry, I forgot my mic. It's just like, your mic is muted. Why are you talking to nobody?
You sound like a fish going. Hey, look, you've been gone for 2 weeks, bro. You are going to get the hot seat tonight. I don't care if you're we had to hear the background report of, my A's are just like, I can't understand it. And this kind of report is a waste of time. That's all it was. It was like the low life of Joey for the last 2 weeks. It was like, and he's like, I really have nothing to say. That's all I got to say. And whoever's coming up next, I'll just throw it over to you.
Well, that's because when you work as hard as I do, and then I had to go do something else.
Yeah.
You want to know, on the day that I was supposed to be here last week, I was listening to the radio. The A's were playing the Orioles. They come back and tie that game. I'm in the car listening to the radio with my sister, listening to the A's game. Walk-off home run. Boom! I tried to turn off the radio twice and missed the first time. And I went, bam! Turned it off. Let's just say there was a stream of words I cannot repeat on air. Yeah, no, David tells me, oh, yeah, Adley Rutschman hit a walk-off home run. And it's just like, David, I'll give you a cookie and you go sit in the corner and don't ask me again. Because I already knew. And I know when I don't like the fact that they're losing right now, but again, the Reds a couple years ago, 3-22 to start the season.
Yeah.
They still finished better than the. I think they still had a better record than the A's did to finish out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. What I was trying to say was Mark Burley had the hit, even during his perfect game. He kept things going. Even when the batters would go to step out, he'd be on the mound, ready to pitch. He had a history of finishing games under 2 hours. It's not about the pitch clock. It's about you get in the box, you're ready to hit.
Right.
That's why there were so many violations. When I was watching the Mets series, they showed a graphic. Who has the most violations? New York Mets.
Wow.
Yeah, Frankie Lindor, it's a grand slam. Who gives a damn about your timer violation?
Yeah. And then Alonso has a home run just to kind of like just put more spikes on the cake, man. You know,
it's just like the entire time. It's like the pink elephant scene in Dumbo, except all I'm hearing as I'm going slowly insane is meet the Mets. Everybody meet the Mets. And I'm just like,
Do you not realize that I'm the only one in this entire group that's actually following a National League team? All you others are all American. We have no.
I think Jesse, before the Astros went to the American League, was an Astros fan for the longest time. So
yeah.
Imagine that, a switch from one league to another, just like the Brewers back in '97.
That's it. I mean, the Brewers were an elite American League team. And then
they went to the National League, and it took them 11 years.
Doing a hell of a lot better, I guess, because they were always in last place in their division.
That's what happened with the Astros. You know, they were poor in the National League, and then got better in the American League.
It just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a switch of and it's the same thing with the Rays. That they were the Devil Rays. They couldn't win. Yeah. Get rid of the Devil and just go Tampa Bay Rays, and look what happens.
I think it's just the Joe Madden effect with that, because Joe Madden he was a bench coach for the 02 Angels and everything. He was Socha's bench coach. 5 years later, he goes to the Devil Rays. Second season he's with them, they go to the playoffs. They go to the World Series. 10 years later, he goes to the Cubs. They make it to the pennant in his first season, 2016 World Series. So it's all about who you have in the right parts. But clearly, the freaking bus is falling off on the side of the road. Everyone's in the ditch, and the wheels are everywhere. And it's just like, can we get a freaking mechanic in this place or what? The mechanic was traded for a player to be named later. Oh, thanks.
Yes.
And the Red Sox got him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll give you a V8 engine, a 4-wheel drive, and I'll even give you freaking what's his name? I'll give you John Lester back because he played for the A's for half a season, and then goes to Chicago and wins a series."
There you go. Yeah, isn't it?
Hey, Brazier, strike him out.
Yeah.
Oh, the base is loaded. Come on.
So I guess the Red Sox are playing right now as we speak, huh?
Yeah. So top of the ninth. The Red Sox are winning 11-4 against Minnesota. Ooh. 2 outs, and you got the bases loaded. Top of the ninth.
Now this could be this. If you guys win this game, this could be your 10th game, and for finally to reach 10 wins, it takes you almost a month to get to 10 wins.
And we've been having a very tough time trying.
I'm telling you.
I wish we had 10 wins.
You have what they call the John 3:16, my friend. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, the Oakland Athletics, on this very day. Lord, oh my God. 3-16.
Which is sad because that was my dad. John was my dad's name. And of course, they're three. Horrible irony, but it's just like, you got humor in a dark place. There you go.
You have a 3-16 record on 420 day. I mean, what more?
I know. And I don't even have any lettuce to smoke.
I don't smoke either.
Right. Come on, Brazier.
Highlighters. That's all you smoke. Yeah. That's about it. I don't know.
Let's go to the news here right now. As Corey Seager is on a 10-day IL, hamstring injury, and uh, Orlando Arcasia went on the IL as well for macrofracture left wrist. Baez has been pulled from the game after embarrassing base running mistake versus the Blue Jays. Uh, Baez, come on now. Melvin Webb is signed to a 5-year, $90 million extension. That's good for him. You know, I saw his talent in he, great pitching versus the Dodgers in that playoff game in 21. Let's see if we can get back on track with this extension. Jeffrey Springs is expected to miss out until 2024 because of Tommy John surgery.
Oh.
That's unfortunate for the Rays. Angels recently called up Zach Nettio. Oh, we got him out.
Got him out.
Wow,
Got him
and the
out.
Red Sox win 11-5 versus Minnesota, and now we got our 10th win in the season. How about that?
It takes you that long to get a 10 wins,
Yeah.
man. Now they're 10-10, 500, and well,
Yeah.
now you know about 6 games back of the Rays. That's not bad.
Thank you very much.
We are not worried about
You'll see that.
Okay.
You'll see those throw.
Season just started. 20 games into the season.
Yeah.
I'll worry about it.
You heard that, Joey? You heard what Eric says early in the season. Don't
early in the season. Think about how many games we are back.
Well, I think about it. When the A's were 2-7, they were 3 games back. That lead is longer than the Beanstalk and Jack and the Beanstalk right now.
More like 9.5.
Yeah, no.
Not the size of a shoe. 9.5.
I mean, if they lose any more games, they're going to be having the same size lead back as my shoe size. 2 more losses, and that'll be it.
Visiting booth from the Mets. Back in at the Athletics due to lose postseason. Well, that's rough. That's rough.
Rough in what sense?
Mets busy booth in Oakland backgated because Harper may not have to play any minor league games because he will. That's what it says. Playing first base. Very interesting to see.
I was going to say it's because he's special. That's why.
Pretty much. David Ortiz had his 146th home run in his 2,751st at bat. Rafael Devers has 146 home run in his 2,751st at bat. Coincidence?
Yeah, the coincidence is Devers is about 40 pounds lighter than Ortiz was.
Yeah, and David Ortiz said Rafael Devers reminds a lot of himself. And
is that before or after the needle in the ass?
Well, if you're talking about before and after, he said that before Devers home run to make that question stat. But
ladies and gentlemen, holding no backs.
Nope.
Yep. Mets called New York Mets called up Brett Beatty. Beatty.
Basti? What kind of name is that, man? It's Brett Beatty. I thought it was Batty, man. I thought it was Batty Boo Boo.
I think David's gone batty at this point, and we're only 20 minutes into the show.
No, you missed last week when he completely called the show "Let's Talk Football."
I watched that episode.
It's David won, Eric won so far.
You won't catch me slipping up. You can get me, you can roast me, you can burn me like a piece of chicken, but I will not slip up on this show. Meanwhile, David's on his phone, just like, I will get you, my pretty.
And your little whatever, doggy or cat or Kit Kat.
No, and your little elephant too.
Oh,
The little pink elephants.
I mean,
Apple up.
only when you drink suds, Eric. Only when you drink suds do you see the pink elephants.
Now this guy last night hosted Bullseye. I know we're going off topic here a little bit, but boy, I tell you, 65 views, and boy, you guys were just having a ball typing in the craziest answers last night on the premiere. What happened? The game.
It was Big John's Bullseye.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was. So we went with the Gregos one, and that was a lot better.
Good.
At least I make up my questions sometimes.
I tell you, I was intrigued by the answers you guys are putting in, like Jabba the Hutt, Andrew Hawking, Alex Cole. I mean, it's like, who was the Renaissance guy that played on the Flavio Zava? It was Alex Cole. And Andrew Hawking was in there too. I mean, Hawking and Huku, And they were like, well, we'll just pass it along and see what happens. 65 views, that's fantastic for a first show that went completely bonkers.
Yep. Andrew Hawking, one of the answers. Yep.
Andrew Hawking for an answer. You got to love it when you're that desperate.
Yeah, we were getting aggravated, but then
I thought it was hilarious. You guys, you kept it under control, but you couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah. But we decided, well, we got to switch it up because they keep repeating the same questions, and we laugh at it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Dante's putting in some other crazy answer. He's putting in Cinderella, and I mean, hey, but fantastic job on the first to make it. Hey, first episodes are going to always be ones where you can screw them up, and nobody really gives a
Yeah.
But once you're down the line there. You really clean it up good, though. But
I mean, if we can harken back to the second episode of the Dugout Crew, where we said one of the questions would be on Bullseye, who forgot to press the button?
I was like, we were doing the show, and I'm like, holy crap, I forgot to press the button.
It's just like 30 minutes in. Where's all that footage, Eric?
It's never there, and it never was.
No, he swept it under his bed. It's just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. This is just dust and dirt.
I kept replaying that back and forth, and I thought that was like the funniest part of our first show. It was like the first 10 minutes of the show was great because we were just like, let it all out. And then we go into our reports, calm, cool, collective, I always thought that'd be great to just have a free for all, or toward the end of the program, either way. But I was thinking it's like, why not? Just throw it in there. But poor David. And I said, he's going to throw Eric in timeout. You watch it. There's a timeout in our voice chat on Discord.
I did end up apologizing to David. I messaged him about it.
I know. It was all good.
Hey, David, I see you with your phone up. Put it down. I know.
What?
I'm just casually not doing nothing on my phone.
I have my notes here to
yeah.
I know. You know where your notes should be?
In the noggin.
I mean, I confess I have the A's injury report up right now because when it gets to my turn, unfortunately, it's like the body bag game in Philadelphia all those years ago.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, bring out your dead.
I say when it comes to your report, I should come in with the second one-on-one verses, so he can literally chew me out and say, "What the hell happened to our series?"
Well, after watching the Cubs series, I can't say that anymore. I can't. If I had seen such incompetency as a general manager, I would have gone to the owner and said, "I quit." You can't bring me any pitchers. You can't bring. What's that old John McVay line from? Yes, I am making a football reference, but he said, well, we can't pass and we can't run. We can't stop a pass and we can't stop a run. Other than that, we're in good shape.
There you go.
Bullpen implosions. Fujinami not doing anything of record except for one start. He starts on Saturday in Texas. In Texas, in that ballpark. Fireworks display in April.
There you go.
Pablo Lopez agrees to a 4-year extension, $73.3 million. This Saturday, I believe, 23-year-old Hunter Green will be facing 43-year-old Rich Hill. The Yankees are the last team to lose a series. Pretty interesting this year.
Oh, good for them. Good
Hey,
for the
Dan.
Yankees.
Hey, Joey. Danny says hi. By the way.
Oh, the Danny Lewis boy. I'm glad everything's going according to plan with him.
Yes.
What do you seem like, by the way?
Oh, he plays the squeeze box and everything in his spare time.
Yes.
Oh,
I think he was a contestant on Blockbusters later on in the week. Poor Danny got Viagra'd by Mark Leota. So
And that's where I go outside.
there you go.
Reminding 2023 City Connect debuts. Seattle, May 5th. The Reds, May 19th. Baltimore, May 26th. And the Pirates, June 27th. Stadium Ushers, ticket takers, and ticket sellers at PNC Park was on strike. Here are the MLB's new rules that recently came out, and I gotta say, this is not something that I want to hear. So let me get the new rules here. On MLB on Fox.
I mean, Joe Buck's gone, so no one can complain about that anymore.
Mhm.
Hello, this is Joe Buck over here with Troy Aikman.
Telling you, Joey's funny today, man. Anything he says is just a total laugh.
Oh,
Wait until
I don't want to
wait until
interrupt. I don't want to interrupt David, but did you guys go over the larger bases recently or no?
No, I don't think we did.
well, these are the new rules that recently are being tested out in the Atlantic League.
Oh God.
Yeah, a designated pitch runner, not otherwise in the lineup, and available to use at any point in the game.
That's
Also,
the 70s. That's Herb Washington and those guys.
a pitcher
73 World Series. Herb Washington gets picked off first base because he doesn't want to play baseball.
pitcher limit of a single disengagement per at bat, and there's also a double hook DH rule being tested, which allows clubs to use the designated hitter throughout the game, provided that the club's starting pitcher has completed at least 5 innings. If the starter fails to make it through the 5 innings, the club loses the DH for the remainder of the game.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even hit. I think that was Eric with the buzzer.
All I heard was a buzzer, or somebody's telephone just went off.
Yeah. Buzzer. I think I should change the notification sound on my phone.
I know. I raised my hand.
It's like, yes. May I speak? Oh, beep.
My opinion on that rule is, if you're gonna have that rule, why not just that defeats the purpose of having a DH in both leagues now. If you're gonna have that rule be in effect, because if a starter fails to go 5 innings, that's essentially the National League a couple years ago. That's 2 years ago, National League, where you never had the DH in the first place. So it's just like, why? Why is all of a sudden that an issue now? I mean, the thing I have about that is, Madison Bumgarner, if he fails to go 5 innings and you lose the DH, you lose one of the best hitting pitchers in baseball. Zach Greinke, if he's in the bullpen, you've got one of the best hitting pitchers to ever pick up a stick. He can come in the game and change a game. So there's two sides to this. There's pros and there's cons. And the concept of it all is pitchers can hit. Bartolo Colon was one of them, despite the fact that his stomach unfortunately hit his face when he would swing. All I remember, and one of my favorite clips in MLB history is when he's in the dugout doing this, making his stomach go up and down.
Hey,
that's the ideal male frame right there. Eric would agree.
When Bartolo Colon was with the Mets, those guys, all those hitting pitchers on the Mets, that Syndergaard and DeGrom, they all had their share of home runs, and it worked. And then,
and then Bartolo finally hit his.
Yep, and they all left. They all left the dugout and just like flat left him. The poor guy.
I think they were just doing one guy in the dugout. You know, it's sort of like when you finally hear your first home run. It's like a tradition where, you know, people give you the silent treatment and then they go and mob you afterwards. You know, Kevin Youkilis went through it. It was so funny. Kevin Youkilis hit his first home run as a member of the Red Sox, and he goes to the dugout, and everybody's giving him the same time. He's like this.
Yeah,
that's that you play along because if you know the tradition and everything.
Yeah, you play.
Imagine how Dwayne Kuiper felt. Dwayne Kuiper had one career home run, one in 12 seasons.
Wow.
There's been players that went their entire career without ever hitting home run. Pitchers are not. Just imagine that. You think you're going to get an inside the park home run. You're chugging around third base. You fall on your face in the mud.
Oh, that's happened.
You get up.
I go to third base for goodness sakes.
Joey was like building it up, and then he just shot him down.
I know, because I've always wanted that. I didn't play organized baseball after a period of time. But in my mind, this is what you're thinking. You're just like, when you hit that ball on the gap and you know you're carrying a trailer, you're just like, and everyone's just like, unhitch the trailer. And it's just like, it's a part of me. What do you want me to do? And then you get to third base. You're running out of gas, and the third base coach is like, oh, go. And you're like, no. And then you trip over your feet, and you're just like crawling. And then the catcher's just like, sorry, you're out. And you're just like, ah.
Yeah, I stretched a triple and couldn't get any farther.
No, you stretched a triple and you thought you were getting a cake at home plate.
Yeah, you got a pie right in the face, which is the catcher's glove right here. That's it. I'm
sorry, David. I know I'm going off topic, and I know you have to finish your news. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just give a little bit of that, you know.
It's all good. We have Clayton Kershaw gaining his 200th win in his career.
Don't fucking, man. It was against us.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer.
And also, Max Scherzer, it was ejected because of sticky stuff.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh man, I
believe
Scherzer. I believe Scherzer
too. That koozie boom boom head vampire, not umpire, vampire. He sucked the blood right out of the damn freaking.
I mean, Phil Cuzzi was known as the charisma vacuum.
Yeah,
I'm honestly getting sick of this sticky stuff. So just end it already.
All they do is they put rosin in their freaking glove. They wash it off with alcohol. They look. He did it right in front of an MLB official. How is it that the MLB official does not have power over the damn umpire?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's glove inspection. I understand that Garrett Cole got in trouble for spider tack. And Trevor Bauer was one of the biggest accusers. What do you think happened to him? He did something stupider to get the attention off him, and now he's in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
One thing leads to another, and we'll get to that in a little bit there. But you scratched the surface on that one, and we have a lot to talk about on that particular subject within the next 25 minutes. So
Oh,
Yeah.
we've got time. Yes, I know last week's episode only went 46 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thought it went an hour and 3.
Listen,
But it did.
The big man in charge said, I'm going to snip this 17-minute chunk out of here.
let's see about that.
This-
Uh,
We snip the
Dan-
snip the snippy snip pie. He went na. You gave it a head,
Daniel
didn't you? You dumb scum of a boom boom. Really, huh?
Daniel Bird has came back after exciting issues after 2 weeks. Now as of today or last night, I found out this morning about the Oakland A's, but we'll get to that later on. Madison Bumgarner has been designated for assignment.
Whoa.
Yes,
That's a huge thing because he signs that massive contract after leaving the Giants, where he spent 9 seasons, wins 3 World Series, has the most minuscule World Series ERA in baseball history, just to get DFA'd after 4 seasons in the desert. Maybe he goes back to the Giants after this, resurrects his career.
Probably. I would love to see that actually. And via ESPN, Otani could be on the move from Anaheim or Los Angeles, whatever people call it these days. I don't really care. If the Angels are not a playoff team. So if the Angels are not going to be a playoff team this year, then Otani could be on the move.
Ooh.
What's your thoughts? Does Otani stay in with the Angels or leave the Angels? I'm going to start with Eric. Eric, I'm calling you.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Shut up, David. Okay.
I'm calling you. I'm calling
Calling
you.
you. Oh yeah, you be calling me. You be calling your mama if you keep disrespecting us like that.
Somebody call my mom. Call
Anyway,
my mom.
anyways, Otani. Well, I'll tell you one thing. They pay Otani all this money, and now they're not even contending for a championship. If I see him on the, I will. It could happen. It could happen. I know he's interested. He likes the Red Sox. He likes the city of Boston because of the history and tradition, especially Fenway Park. And that could be an interesting place if the Red Sox end up offering him some money and he ends up going there. He could thrive in there. But it all depends on which team he wants to go to. He's going to have to look who is contending and all that. And if they're willing to, if the teams are willing to part with their prospects, it all depends on which team is willing to part with their prospects or their prime prospects for Otani. That's a huge thing. So we'll see what happens.
Joey?
I'm just looking at his contract right now. When he first came into the league 5 years ago, he made $545,000 league minimum. This season, he's making $30 million.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
And he's a two-way player, so he's getting paid $15 million to do. It's essentially like paying 2 players. You're paying him $15 million to hit, $15 million to pitch. But one of those seasons he didn't pitch. So now that there's a DH in both leagues, I think that plays up to his advantage more because send him to a place with a short porch, and I think he'd be on the move. Because the Angels, Artie Moreno is not selling the team, even though he was hanging that carrot out there and everything. I don't think Shohei is going to stay in Anaheim. I think he's going to a high-priced team. Maybe he'll go to the Mets.
Well,
maybe he'll play right field for them. Maybe he'll DH for the Mets, and maybe Pete Alonso will actually play first base. Because, in my honest opinion, Daniel Vogelbach deserves to be released because he's a 300-pound man, but he is the absolute worst when it comes to hitting. He's 3 true outcomes, and I think Otani, if the Mets are willing to shell out, would look great in the orange and blue. That's just me, though, because I can't stand the fact that he would go to the Yankees, and the Yankees would turn him into a prima donna.
The next Babe Ruth attempt on you.
Well, then they would put that on every newspaper. We got the next Babe Ruth. They tried that. They tried that
Mm-hmm.
multiple times because there hasn't been a legitimate two-way player since the Brewers had Bruce Kieschnick years ago. I think it was about 20 years ago now.
Mm.
Brooks Keshnick, I remember him.
Right fielder, pitcher, pinch hitter. He hit 7 home runs 20 years ago, trying to become a full-time two-way player.
Babe Ruth said himself he doesn't think anyone could be a two-way player, but Ohtani proved him wrong.
Oh, God. I can only imagine he would say some unsavory things about Shohei Ohtani because that was a different time, almost 100
Yeah.
years ago.
What's your thoughts, Jason? Would Ohtani stay with the Angels or go somewhere else?
Well, it's a funny thing you mentioned the fact that he should go to the Mets because there was a big post on Facebook this morning saying that Steve Cohen should sign that son of a gun with the money he has and bring him over to the Mets. There's no doubt in my mind that the Mets fans would love to see Ohtani in the lineup. I know, based on what I've seen from him, and scouting reports show that he is fantastic in a DH position. I don't see why not. I mean, if he wants to go to a contending team, come to the Mets. We need all the help we can get. We got to contend with the Braves. We have to contend with the Brewers. And if
The
you're
Braves?
not the Braves, yeah, the Braves and the Braves. I thought, who did I say?
You said
Brewers.
Brewers. Yeah.
Brewers too, but that's it's a different division. But all those teams that are basically have our number, we have to contend with. That's the Dodgers, the Giants, Padres, those guys, and Cardinals. Same thing too. I mean, we have to go out there and contend and get those quality wins and starts. And right now, because our rotation is just completely shot to the pieces because of what happened yesterday. Our offense is going to have to pick up.
What did happen yesterday?
Scherzer, and then we got Carrasco on the injured list, probably out permanently. That's a blow to the lineup to the rotation, and we don't know when we're getting Verlander back and Quintera. So I mean,
probably by the end of this month.
So right now we have Senga, who's our starter ace right now, and McGill and Peterson and Robertson as a closer, and some other guys that they just called up from AAA. They're going to have to get in there and do a rotation. So it's going to be interesting to see what we're going to be putting up against the Dodgers and apparently the Braves come when we the Nationals and the Braves when we go back to Citi Field come next Tuesday. So,
what's your thoughts, Chester? Tony with the Angels or here?
I know this would be a long stretch, but I think we could benefit. The Astros could benefit from having Ohtani in terms of pitching.
Possibly. But I mean, if the Angels, signed that contract to Tony, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think everybody was talking anyway. But I mean, Trout wants Ohtani back there, so we'll see what happens going forward. Let's get to our reports. We'll start with Eric with the Red Sox. The first one today. He took the series.
Okay. Now, the Red Sox did win their game today. Manuel Valdez, who was one of the highly touted prospects for the Red Sox, was called up because Yu Chang went on the paternity list. He just had another child. Congratulations to Yu Chang. But then he had a short-lived stint. They sent Valdez back. And he did go 2 for 4 with a pair of singles on last night against the Twins, but they ended up losing that game because Corey Kluber got clobbered. And Yu Chang came back and and one of his at bats today he homered a 2-run shot, which it's pretty huge. Just huge for the for him, and after getting his wife giving birth to a child, which is totally awesome. So, and he was 0 for 28 prior to all that. He did 2 run. He did break out of that, and Yoshida came back in the lineup, had an RBI single. So he has not been the same since the kid Lucas and his parents refused to give Yoshida his first ever home run ball. So I don't know if that made him hesitant to hit home runs, and because he's afraid that he won't get the ball back or anything like that, or but we shall see. I don't know if that's the case, or he's not much of a power hitter, but he's been he's hitting when he homers when it's needed. But also I'm going to check the Red Sox schedule with just a second here, and give me a all right, the schedule for 2023. All right, then let's see what we got here. We got the Brewers. The Brewers. We got a weekend series against the Brewers. One game tomorrow night at 8:10. Saturday at 7:10 against the Brewers, and then Sunday afternoon. I believe Pavetta, Whitlock, and Brian Bayo, not Bello, it's Brian Bayo. It's like Scott Bayo. Will be pitching in those 3 games, and in one of the games, we're facing. It was the middle game, Saturday's game, where we face old friend Wade Miley, who used to pitch for the Red Sox. So the Brewers are going to be Brewers are going to be another tough team to contend with, and I don't know last time we played the Brewers. That's been a while since the Red Sox played against them. So and I believe afterwards, we Red Sox got a 3-game series against Baltimore, and then we'll be back at Fenway. Red Sox will be back at Fenway. Yeah, okay, shut up. We're back at
There's that buzzer again.
Yeah. Red Sox will be back for another homestand against the Cleveland Guardians. That means the return of old friend Terry Francona. And those pesky Blue Jays who finally ended the Rays' winning streak. So the Blue Jays was like Brock Lesnar to the Rays' Undertaker. Now we're facing them another 7-game homestead. And then it will be off to the Phillies in May. So we're starting off May with interleague play. We'll start out the series in May against the Blue Jays, and then we get the Phillies and the Braves. And then another 3-game homestand against the Cardinals in the middle of May. First time I think the Cardinals visit Fenway since the 2013 World Series, I think. And then another game, another 3-game series against the Padres. In fact, the Mariners. We get the Mariners up next. Then we go to San Diego to face the Padres, which will have 2 old friends from there, Xander Bogaerts and Don Orsillo. And then we go back to battle the Angels towards the end of May, and then when May basically ends, we got the Diamondbacks and Reds. So that we're playing a lot of National League teams in the first few games, and with the DH being universal now, so it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We took was it 3 out of 4 against the Angels, Patriots Day weekend. I'm very, very happy with that. That wild game against the Twins last night.
Wow.
The walk-off was crazy. He's like, Dave O'Brien, we're going to hit a foul ball. Oh, it's fair. The Red Sox win. And then everybody, Rocco's like, hey, wait a minute. We got to make sure it's fair. We got to make sure. And everybody's standing around like, okay, can we celebrate or not? Call stands.
And Verdugo said after the interview,
oh my God,
be fair.
He pulled a big poppy. Be effing fair. We're live, Alex. But Jemai Webster, I handed it him. Alex Verdugo. I am very, very surprised that he wasn't fined by the major league for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Manfred's is about as soft as the other side is the pillow, man.
Yeah.
Eric.
Manfred just basically handed the game to the umpires, man. So here, you guys, it's all about you. Have fun with it. I'm like, oh boy.
By the way, another someone we know in the Padres is Michael Walker. He's in the Padres too.
Yeah, Michael. Oh, Michael Walker. That's right. I forgot about it.
Waka waka waka.
We gotta make him look like Fozzie Bear when we get done.
There's a guy. There's a last name that on the last program that was a weird name. Remember when we were talking about weird baseball players' names?
Yeah.
Waka. There you go. There you added your Michael Waka.
Waka, waka,
I
waka.
actually got
like
this.
Batman.
I actually got this during the winter weekend. for Dugout.
Oh my God! The first of the bobbleheads. Here we go.
Where do go, Doogie?
Doogie goes.
I got this during the winter weekend. So
Oh, we're talking bobbleheads.
I will. Yeah. I swear, if I can find my starting lineup box, I will bring it onto the show next time.
Oh, sure.
all right.
Yes,
So,
in the box.
so I'm really excited. It'll be very interesting to see what happens this weekend. First time facing the Brewers in
A few years.
in a few years. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we'll see
All
what
right,
happens.
Chester. All right, Chester, your turn.
All right, so the Astros have placed Chas McCormick, the center field, on the 10-day IL with lower back tightness, an injury he suffered working out on Sunday. Manager Dusty Baker said the 27-year-old took over as the Astros starting center fielder in the first week of the season and was hitting .275 with 2 homers, 4 steals, and 9 RBIs this year. He was lifted for a pinch hitter in the 3rd inning of Friday's game against the Rangers after suffering from what the team called vision issues and hasn't played since. McCormick is eligible to come off the IL on April 25th, and it gives the Astros the option to put Mauricio Dubon, who has had a breakout year, in the center fielder position, and they could put Bannon at second base. GM Dana Brown said McCormick is going to be fine. I talked to him, and he was walking around fine in the trainer's room. His energy was good, and he was still flexible. The vision is all good. Bannon, who made his major league debut last year, had 50 plate appearances with the Orioles and is 8 for 42 at AAA for the Sugarland Space Cowboys. So, and then we still have Michael Brantley out. His return is supposed to be next month. And of course, we have Altuve out as well, still with them. He'll be back in June.
This is what happens when you win the World Series next year. Things don't go always your way. After you win the World Series, we haven't had a repeat since we haven't had a repeat since the Yankees. But is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And also, by the way, folks, I forgot to mention this earlier. Today is 420, which means Fernando Tatis Jr. is back. He's back with the Padres, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see.
Only to get popped for a drug violation today and be suspended for the whole season.
Well,
it's just like, we found a little bit of this oregano in your pants pocket. We can't have you having that now, can we?
I don't know.
You sure it's not the other kind of oregano? The marijuana oregano?
It's for his glaucoma. Leave him alone.
He's got that $500 insurance medical marijuana card, man. Don't leave home
like the one his dad had when he was getting supplements from McGuire.
CBD oil. He's probably vaping it in the dugout,
Yep.
It's for stress, man. I'm very stressed out. I make $100 million a year.
And still watch Jerry Springer every afternoon. who's now a judge on his own TV show.
I
Yeah.
think they scrapped that actually.
Yeah, he didn't last too long. He was better off as a TV show host with a food fight, you know.
And ex-mayor too.
That's it. Yep.
All right, Jason, your turn.
My turn. Hello, Francisco Lindor. You are the player of the week for the series against the lowly Athletics. Comes through with 7 RBIs, 7 ribeye steaks in that first game in that 17-6 game against the opening night of the Athletic series. Holy cow. 17-6. Joey, I hate to ask the question, and I'm going to ask it anyways. When you saw us beat you up 11 to 6, and it was on the verge of going 17-6, what were you thinking while you were watching that game or listening to it?
After they scored the 11th run, I watched until it was 14-6, and I turned it off.
Dude, I was very shocked myself. The score continually going up and up and up, and I'm like, holy cow. And I'm thinking to myself, the Athletics are really that bad? I mean, the record at that time before the losses, really, you could have had a chance to take 3 games up on us, but you came close to the other 2 games. The first game was not even close, but the other 2 games, I can't believe we pulled a shoe out of that. Can't believe that.
17 walks. That's
unbelievable. 17
walks. And unfortunately, I ended up getting a haircut between then and now, so that's why I didn't pull it out.
And wasn't like 16 of those were from actual pitchers and not position players?
Perez didn't walk anybody, I don't think. Yeah. But Dan Iasonia had one of the smallest strike zones. It's smaller than David's strike zone if he played baseball. Now step into the plate, playing shortstop, David St. Dennis.
Or even Jerome's strike zone.
That would be his stomach. That's his strike zone.
You have padding on it to kind of bounce right off the with all that.
Yeah, he makes what's his name? He makes Daniel Vogelback look like a supermodel.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, Brandon Nimmo, our hero in the Dodgers series. Folks, I'm telling you, my predictions came close. We are now 5-1 on the road trip, which means we can still blow this 4 games against the Giants. And I say, hey, minimum 5-5 on the road trip, and I'd still come out with a prediction. But we're not going to think about that. We're going to go into the Giants, and we're going to raise some ruckus. We're going to take 4 out of them. I'm going to say we're going 9-1 on the road trip. And if I'm still wrong, 7-3 at the worst. But the big news right now, Philip Cousy, what the hell are you thinking, man? You got some nerve, man. You just don't know. Because I tell you what, if Max Scherzer gets this appealed and he wins, I say the screwball ought to just go after the scumbag legally and sue him or have him fired and suspended the same amount of games, because umpires should be held accountable for their misconstruencies and stuff. I mean, umpires can be wrong, and they've been dead wrong for how long, and no one's held them accountable for it. We've seen that all, and you can all agree with me that we've seen that in every situational game, whoever's team we was playing against or for. The umpires have literally ruined the game, and this right here, this is. I mean,
the other umpire in question was Dan Bellino or something like that. He had
home plate umpire. Yeah. Wasn't he the home plate the crew chief, right?
Yeah, because he had an issue with Madison Bumgarner, and you remember that time he was touching Madison Bumgarner's hands, and Bumgarner was staring straight at him.
Yeah,
and he was staring straight at Bumgarner like he wants to start something. Umpires need to freaking knock it off, man.
So as far as
it's like that time that umpire also robbed that player of a perfect game, and then he cried.
Hey, Jim Joyce came back and apologized the next day.
I know, but that's wrong.
Well, I hate to say it, but in that situation, that helped accelerate replay review in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That happened in 2010. By, I think, 2013, 2014, there was replay in baseball.
So, getting back to what I was saying before, we go 17-6, 4-3. What was the other scores on that one? 17-6, 4-3, and a 3-2 and a 4-3. We go 8-6 on the Dodgers, lose 5-0, and then beat them 5-3. So 5-1 on the road trip. And then tonight we played the Giants, 9:45, 10:15 tomorrow, 4:05 on Saturday, and 7:10 on the Sunday night baseball game of the week. All to go back to Citi Field on the 25th against 3 games against the Nationals and 4 against the Braves before heading out to Detroit. So next week I will have my home colors and a special surprise too. If I can find it, I will have it. But other than that, there ain't much to say until we can really talk about this Max Scherzer thing. I'd like to, if we had more time to talk about it, sure enough. The only thing I can say is how is it that an MLB official does not have more power than an umpire, especially when, how is it that the MLB official cannot overturn the umpire's decision? If for that reason, why is it that the MLB official is just like doesn't have any power to the league?
They
Because
should.
they're going to testify. That MLB official is going to have to testify that he saw Scherzer in the dugout scrubbing with alcohol, soap and water, and then re-rosining his hands with rosin, putting his glove back on. And if the guy denies it, then Scherzer's basically got a legality case, because it's all legal. If he's got a lawyer, get one, because he's going to need one.
Yeah.
We all believe him, as the fans believe him, but this doesn't look good for Scherzer. It really doesn't. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Back to you, David.
All right, Troy, it's time for the main event.
Okay.
The
A's are moving to Vegas.
Oh, Jesus. The Vegas.
John Fisher, the owner of the Oakland A's, who bought from Lou Wolf many years ago after they sold him, is worth $6 billion in net worth. $6 billion. The A's have the lowest payroll in baseball. They've won a total of 3 games. Their team ERA is over 7.5. They've lost 7 in a row. They've been shut out 3 times. Their best pitcher just went on the disabled list for anxiety issues for 15 days. They've lost Ramon Laureano. They've lost Seth Brown to injury. Brett Rooker's is day-to-day with a hamstring injury. Danny Jimenez, who just recently pitched, has a shoulder issue. He's out for 60 days now because the A's have nobody left. They're digging themselves a deep hole, and now $1 billion stadium over in Vegas, right by Allegiant Stadium. This team has officially jumped the shark at 13 under 500. Their best player is Ramon Laureano, and he missed more than half the season because he was too busy doing this, rubbing the clear on his arms like Barry Bonds. So, yeah, no. This team is out of the playoffs. Baseball Reference has them at 0.1%, less than 0.1% to make the playoffs or anything else. This team deserves to be in the position they're in, and they are so awful. They are not going to finish with 60 wins. I have them finishing with 50, if that. People are all over Twitter about this now and everything. The A's are trying to be this team that they thought they would be. Even their fans understand that they're not the problem. June 13th against the Rays, they're planning a reverse boycott where they're going to where they didn't show up against the Mets. They didn't show up against the Orioles. They didn't show up against whoever. They're going to plan this reverse boycott and there's going to be like 40, 50,000 fans at that game just to do a reverse boycott because this team, there's sewage and everything in the dugouts because the toilets are backing up. There are pipe problems. And this is for Jason because this is the one that really got me mad. And it's not about the A's. Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez ran to an auxiliary press booth because there was a possum in the press box.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
And this was during that 17-6 game. There was also a shot of a person an A's fan, wearing a foam finger on the SNY broadcast, doing this with the foam finger on the other hand. He was flipping off the team because Dan Iasonia, and I'm not putting all that blame on him, 17 walks. That's an A's record.
It's got to be a record for the Mets to be walked that many times. What about the amount of times we've been hit by a pitch, Joey? We lead the league every year now. Everybody's like attacking us with the baseball. Buck Showalter is sick and tired of it.
The Mets, ever since Brody Van Wagenen has become their GM, they stole away the Starling Marte, who the A's got in a trade for Jesus Luzardo, who's tearing it up right now. They end up getting Mark Canha from them. They end up getting Chris Bassett from them. I don't hate the Mets. It's just the fact that in a 17-6 ball game, the A's are having their fans flip them off and everything. The Mets announcers are in the freaking press box, and it's just infuriating to the point where they're losing one-run games. They're losing by 11 runs. How do you expect a team to stay anywhere with its fan base where on opening day they had 27,000 fans? They are being out-attended by every team in their affiliates from AAA down to rookie ball almost. The
also, Ohtani was Ohtani was pitching that day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, even for games Ohtani was pitching. I've already told David this. I've become a bit of a masochist with this team because I was watching games where also Eric's a duck. That actually makes me feel a little bit better. Now I'm supposed to be mad, damn it. Come on. But
you are, man. You're not I'm waiting for you to just say something so out there left field, my friend. Go for it. You've been out for 2 weeks. The floor is yours.
The A's, I watched an A's game where it was 0-0. That they had an inning last 30 minutes where they lost 11-0.
Yeah.
They've given up walk-off home runs. They don't have a single starter who has a win on that squad. That hyped up Fujinami guy. He was pitching in front of his mom the day he lost 11 that he gave up 11 runs. That just shows you how much this owner, how much the general manager, how much they're trying to scapegoat the fact that they were trying to keep this team in Oakland. If you're trying to keep a team in Oakland, you don't field one of the worst teams in their history. They are so bad right now. They said they show run differentials. The Cleveland Spiders, who went 20 and 134, have the worst ever run differential. It was like negative 167 or something like that. They lost 134 games. This team has started 3-16. Hope has gone out the window. They're digging the grave. And here is what the tombstone lies and says. The Oakland Athletics won 4 championships in Oakland, but they couldn't get themselves out of the ground to start the season and finish the season. This is where they lie, and this is where they'll stay. Because the cellar dwellers are not selling, but they're certainly dwelling. Because I don't blame the Mets for beating the hell out of them, and I don't blame the Cubs for beating the hell out of them. The A's are 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 7 in a row, and they're making all those teams that were seen so good, they're making them seem like they're facing AAA players.
And it's been quoted in that 17-6 loss that even your AAA players could have beaten us on the A squad. that the A squad that was playing that 17-6 game that night, the AAA team could have went in there and actually beaten us.
Speaking of that, there's actually some bright spot. Mason Miller came up and pitched yesterday, but the bullpen came in and blew the game afterwards because, of course, that's the bullpen. Because Jerry's Familia, no matter what team he plays for, he blows more saves than – okay, we can't say that one. There's a child present. David's here.
Now, Jerry's Familia was with us for quite some time, and yes, he had some blown saves, but he also had some pretty good opportunities. Mixed motions again. There he goes to another team, and he could have a stellar year, or he could have a fantastical flop. And in this case, what does he do? He goes to a flop. Oh my God, terrible! So his reputation is basically now on the line.
He was one of those guys in that game. He walked 4 players. That has never happened in his career. Iasonia's just like the plate's about the size of a freaking Tic Tac to Iasonia at that point. I'm sure Eric could put on the uniform. He could wear the bubble protector and everything. He could put on the mask. He could put on the backwards hat and say, "Okay, let's play ball." And Eric, even with his glasses on, could have called a better game than Iasonia did. I've never seen such a horrendous and completely insurmountably terrible display of pitching and umpiring in the same section of the game. How do you sit back there like this? Okay, you're going to protect me, right? No. That's what they're going to start doing to umpires if umpires don't get their stuff together.
Because they're going to start attacking the umpire. And I don't blame him in this case if they try to throw a ball in his balls, you know?
Well, there was a game between, I think it was the Indians and the Tigers. Verlander, I forget who the pitcher was, but he called a pitch that was a strike to one team and a ball to another. You don't play favorites, you don't show bias, and you make sure that no matter who the team is, even as terrible as the A's are right now, you call the game down the middle. That's why they're bringing in the idea of robot umpires, and that's why even in the rule book, that they're supposed to keep in their back pocket, this is, let's see. Well, this is 2020, so they probably changed the rules. No, they have. Yeah, no, there's a rule saying in here that game protests are no longer permitted. This is from 3 years ago now. So you can't protest games anymore either. If there's a terrible call, they can't let you protest the game anymore. You're not allowed to hold it up or anything. It's not like when George Brett, who I have the bobblehead of right here, hit the home run in the Pine Tar game. They don't want to be held responsible for their own miserable miscomings and disputes where they don't want to be told they're wrong.
That's what I mean. These rules do accommodate these crybaby umpires.
Yep. You're right about that. You're all right about it. We should all agree on that. Yeah.
I know my stuff about baseball. Yes, my head may not be on the straightest. No, I may not wear the suit and tie and very nice Gucci shoes to the ballpark like most of these players do. No, I'm not Francisco Lindor. No, I'm not Rafael Devers with their $300 million contracts and their crazy curly hair.
And
I'm not Javi Baez. I don't forget how many outs there are and get thrown out at third base.
Javi Baez.
I swear, we try and humanize these players and everything because they make hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you got the umpires who are trying to humanize themselves when in reality they have robot umpires for AAA, and all of a sudden there's less arguments.
That's right. You can't argue with a robot.
Unless
it goes off like that every 5-10 minutes.
You can't argue with a robot.
But there was something about the artificial intelligence that everybody's starting to worry about. There's that big article out there in the news that it has something to do with artificial intelligence, eventually down to that point where artificial intelligence is going to wind up getting into everybody's heads. And, it's going to be like one of those things where it could turn on you eventually. So you got to watch.
Well, that's the thing too.
Yeah.
You've always got to have a fail-safe when it comes to that stuff.
Well, hopefully the artificial intelligence, when it comes to baseball, they get it right.
Yes.
I mean, they've had all this time.
I played catcher when I played baseball. I wasn't able to sit in that crouch every single inning like I would. I used to do the Tony Pena, where I'd be on one knee and have the other leg sticking out.
Right.
That's your lazy boy. That's your recliner if you're a big guy and you have to catch. You get on your knee and you catch the ball. But the umpire has learned, because they look over one of these shoulders, they don't want to look over your head unless it was Tim McCullough, who was that 6'6" umpire, and they got Bruce Dreckman, who's 6'7", and Jordan Baker, who's 6'7". You want a tall umpire to be able to see everything. Right. But unfortunately, they have these small umpires. I'm not saying there's a problem with that. You'd be better off having David umpiring at first base, Jason umpiring at second base, Jesse at third base, and Eric behind the plate with his glasses on, because unfortunately, somehow I'm going to be the manager and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, and you're wrong on a play at the plate where the umpire said, hey, and I would continue. I wouldn't kick dirt. I would just say, you have a very pleasant family, and you deserve to be Father of the Year. I would say that way, and they translate that on to a television set. They're going to say, oh, he's saying nothing but nice things about that umpire, despite the fact that he's upset. Because it's not about being mad. If an umpire screws up one time, then it's fine. But it's the multitude of just your team sucks, the umpiring sucks, and the sport's starting to suck, despite the fact that they're changing the rules. There's more home runs than ever. There's more stolen bases than ever. Pitching is suffering. Defense has been suffering. And you got a two-way player leading the entire league in WAR at a 1.7. And despite the fact that he was MVP one time, Aaron Judge is all of a sudden the focus because he's 6'7", weighs 280 pounds, and he can hit home runs.
And from New York.
Who gives a damn about New York? Bad enough my camera's above the guy who's the Mets' biggest fan, and unfortunately, if he had a mustache, he'd name it Keith.
I have a goatee. So.
I know. You want to know what you named it? You named it Mattingly.
I always look up to those who are far away from me.
Coasts apart. Entire coasts apart.
I had a loose end before. I will have a loose end tonight. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope next week on the program we can talk about this Max Scherzer suspension in a little more detail, because I'm running out of time myself. I have to get going. I got a dinner date with a wonderful mom who is not feeling too well tonight. So,
I'm sorry I took too much of the time up. I just had to. There was a lot to unpack there.
Oh no, there was more that you had to get off your big chest there, my friend. And
but here's the thing.
2 weeks,
I'll just briefly go over this because I know you're running out of time. If you have issues with stuff like spider tack and all that stuff years ago, and then all of a sudden you're bringing it back, the umpires have been checking and doing nothing but conscientiously, continuously, and insurmountably having an issue with this thing. You've got to think, if you see a guy doing it, you got Phil Negro, Charlie Huff, Gaylord Perry admitted he had a book out called Me and the Spitter. You really think that Max Scherzer's cheating? You think he's in the dugout washing his hands? Like if it was Eric washing his hands and all of a sudden he gets the pine tar soap from Dr. Squash and starts scrubbing it on his hands. Then he goes and throws a baseball that's going to move an extra 6 freaking inches. If the umpire knew what 6 inches was, he wouldn't have a wife.
I'll probably be suspended for throwing the baseball with greased chicken in my hands or something.
That's right. As if there was enough feathers on the ball, anyways, from the chicken. You know. We're just not throwing turkeys out there. You know.
Yeah, throwing turkeys
That's
out
what
there.
the managers are there for. They're the turkeys.
Yes, exactly. No, the umpires are the turkeys, man. That's
You guys
managers.
our butts in the jackpot.
How many
Our ass
seasons
on the
did you,
jackpot. Our ass on this jackpot. Well, why not? Why not? Terry,
How
you
many-
had your shot. You had your shot.
Because the fact of the matter is, you guys are screwing up calls.
Joey,
Well-
how many seasons did you play baseball? Joey as the catcher. How many seasons?
I did it in Little League. Unfortunately, as I got bigger, so did my ability to catch got worse because you got to have a strong lower body to hold up the rest of your frame.
Yeah.
Ask the Molina brothers.
Yeah.
And then you probably had some bad knees after that too, because
As I got to high school, I played I ended up playing sports, and your knees just deteriorate because weightlifting, your own body weight, and then having to lug a backpack around for 8 hours. So your body is just destroyed as you get older, especially if you play sports. Like if David had to carry around a backpack full of books that weighed about 10 pounds each, David wouldn't be 110. David wouldn't be 110 pounds. He'd be 160 pounds, and he'd have a six-pack.
and he'd fall backwards.
Yeah, just whoa!
Whoa! That goes. This thing is flying out. What the heck, man? What did he
It's
do? He
kinda
overloaded his book bag. That's what happened.
It's kind of crazy that certain players like Dustin Pedroia and Jose Altuve are able to play with how small they are.
It's
crazy.
not that the small because there was a player that had before Pete Rose had his long hitting streak in the 80s. Wee Willie Keeler had a 44-game hitting streak. He was 5'4", weighed 135 pounds, and swung a 30-ounce bat. He was just punching the ball like Tony Gwynn did in his time frame, because all you had to do in the dead ball era was punch the ball with the bat, because the dead ball was about the size of a softball, had more dents in it than there are in my head, and didn't roll much more than 10 feet.
What Dave said.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I gotta
So-
get going. So
Yeah, that's gonna be it for this
see
episode
you
of
later.
the Dugout Crew. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the David3000 Network for great more content like this one.